30 seconds and counting.
Hello, this is season 1 of High Altitude Adventures podcast. My name is Mikhail. I'm a travel agent, space travel agent, Ireland's first space travel agent. And my guest here today is Paige Muller, who is an enthusiastic potential space adventurer.
I'm a space adventurer, to be confirmed. Thank you for inviting me, Mikhail.
You're welcome. And today we'll speak about space travel, space tourism, and all kind of adventures in the space or in the air.
4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
What do you know about space tourism?
You know what? Very little. So I'm looking into it because my boyfriend, who I've been dating for a decade, is turning 30. And he loves space. He loves all things adventure and space. And I want his 30th to be incredible. I want it to be an experience that we can both remember. I don't want the generic 30th birthday party. So I thought maybe a space adventure of some kind, something, but I don't know what I'm getting myself into. I need help.
Well, the funny thing, if you wait for another 10 years, you can have a real space flight, really cheap.
So for his 40th is...
Yes, so have this in mind, that whatever I offer you now, in 10 years' time, you can go to space at a fraction of today's cost.
How is that possible?
Well, we'll talk about it later. But for today, because this is the urgency for your next one. So there are many projects which are very exciting. They're out there today. Some of them are coming soon. Some of them are very expensive. Some of them are affordable. Some of them are very affordable. So depending upon your budget, like if you have $300 million in your bank account.
If I'm Elon Musk.
Well, he has more, but let's say 300 million. Or maybe you have 100 euro.
Okay.
So
oh, wow.
there are options available for all this range.
Okay.
So if I wanted to do something exciting for myself and my girlfriend, I would probably go weightlessness in a zero-G adventure inside an aircraft. You go up and you do several parabolic flights. Well, it's a scientific term, but you experience real weightlessness.
Okay.
And
so they actually, how high up do they have to take you for that?
It's normal altitude, like normal commercial aircraft altitude. The trick is the airplane goes up and then down, and it mimics the parabolic trajectory. When you throw something in the air, it follows that trajectory. And if airplane does that, everyone inside feels weightlessness. And this lasts for about 30 seconds. And they can do this 15 times. So you have several minutes of weightlessness or reduced gravity because they imitate moon gravity, Mars gravity, and pure weightlessness.
And any of us can do that?
Anyone can do it. And the airplane can take up to 40 people in Europe or 20 people in US. There are several projects which do that.
That's
now,
awesome.
Price, right?
Yes. Where are we on the spectrum?
Well, I want to test your kind of range now. $8,000 per person, $9,000 per person. So this is the current price range.
You know what? If everyone's paying for themselves, that's not bad. For that kind of experience, how often is there any other way to achieve that?
You can go into an elevator, a lift, and cut the cable and drop in the lift. It will be one time. But
I'm pretty sure that's pretty
that's free. But that's the price today. There are some projects similar to that, small airplanes, maybe 1 or 2 people. That's €6,000 dollars per flight or per person. There are different prices, but that's one option.
Okay, that's cool, but I wouldn't be able to I don't know if I'd be able to afford him and me. Is there anything? Also, what is the safety on that? Is that safe?
Yes, it is safe. It's a commercial aircraft. It's certified for this flight, and actually all commercial aircraft are designed to withstand this kind of flight.
Okay.
But this particular companies, they have additional certification, pilots have additional training, and yes, it is safe. It will be absolutely safe, fantastically safe, and you'll enjoy it.
It sounds so cool. I just want to get a mental picture. So Is this a Boeing 747 we're talking about?
A310 in Europe, Boeing 727 in US, and
Okay.
smaller aircraft in US. There are many projects.
And they strip out the inside interior?
Yeah, the interior is gone. Well, most part of the aircraft, and there are seats in the back where
Okay.
people
You'll be sitting
there on the
start.
way up because it's
Yeah.
all on flight. It's several hours because it will go to the altitude and then we'll do several maneuvers and then you'll fly back. And then there are coaches there. They will coach you in advance before the flight,
Okay.
and then first flights will be reduced gravity. You will not
Okay.
fly immediately. They will just give you a first feel of what it is, and they will coach you beforehand. So they will teach you the basics so that you can
What do
feel
you mean
better.
the basics? The
Well,
basics of
there are
what?
certain things you need to do before the flight
Yeah.
so that you enjoy it more, because weightlessness is weightlessness. It's tricky,
Yeah.
and things can happen. Maybe you won't feel well during the flight.
Okay,
But there
I
are
mean,
things.
yeah,
There
no
are
one
things
knows
to
what it
do
feels like.
to prevent that. So they will coach you before. They will coach you on the flight, and then when it gets into this area where it will do all these maneuvers, then you unbuckle. Your coaches are with you, basically holding you, and there are nets there which you could hold on to. And then
Okay.
they will announce that, and then you'll have 30 seconds of reduced gravity, so you get your bearing and understand how it feels. And then they repeat it, and they repeat it, and repeat it, and then less gravity, and then complete weightlessness, and you
Sounds
float.
Absolutely insane. Like, I want to try that tomorrow. But I don't know if I can afford for both of us. Is there anything lower on the range?
Yeah, and we're talking about space adventures,
Yeah.
space-like, space-related,
Yeah.
or something so abnormal that it probably pretty close borders to the space experience. This is the whole essence of.
Yeah, up in the clouds, touching the sky. If
You
will.
can touch the skies, you can touch the clouds, and this will cost you 300 to 400 euro per person.
There we go. Hold on, you've hit me. What are we talking?
Yes, this is just simple vanilla skydives.
Vanilla skydive.
Simple, like nothing, very normal.
Vanilla skydives.
normal
For most people, skydives are like pretty extreme sports.
Yeah. Well, in my range, that's the beginning of the adventures. Anything in my list of adventures is much more exciting than just simple vanilla
Okay,
skydives.
so I mean vanilla. You call it vanilla. So we're touching. What does space travel encompass then? What is the definition really of space travel?
Space travel, in general, is just visiting space, which is everything beyond Earth,
Yeah.
beyond Earth atmosphere. We probably should talk more about space tourism,
Yeah.
commercial space travel, because people were traveling to space for many years. And now we're entering the age when regular people can go to space,
Yeah.
as if we just go on vacation.
I'm right to say that like someone in their 60s has done this before, right? It's happened.
Well, first, it was purely government enterprise. Pilots, fighter pilots, military pilots, specially trained people. Then in 1980s, 1970s, were the first time when non-professional astronauts went to space, but they were representatives of commercial companies like Boeing, McDonnell, who were designing some. You saw the Big Bang Theory.
Yes, love it.
So you remember, what was his name? I forgot.
Sheldon, Lennon,
No.
Kuthrapali.
No, but the guy went to
Howard
went to space.
oh,
So
Howard.
Howard went to space.
Yes, he's
he
an
was a
astronaut,
scientist.
yes.
He designed whatever he designed. We won't mention that. And he was supervising it. So this is when first engineers went to space, and then in 90s. First billionaires went to space. They just paid $25-30 million
Must be nice.
and they went to space. And this was the beginning of pure commercial space tourism. And then there was a short gap when this was not happening. And then 2021 was the restart of a commercial space tourism activity. When people, just regular people with lots of money, were able to pay for the ticket, for the seat, and go to space. And that's space tourism. That's commercial space tourism. And now we have an explosion of these projects in a good meaning. So big number.
You're going to be careful where you put the word explosion.
But there are new projects coming up,
Yeah.
and there are projects already happening. So you can go to space station and spend 2 weeks there And one such flight landed a couple of days ago with Axiom Space. People just paid the money, or governments paid the money, and you went there. And then
landed where?
In US, yeah, there was they flew on Falcon 9 Crew Dragon, and they went up, docked to the space station, spent about a week at the space station. We're doing some experiments, but there were two astronauts from Saudi Arabia, so they paid for their citizens to go, and they one commercial pilot and one proper astronaut, and that's it. This is a commercial trip. So this is one option. Another option, you can go so-called suborbital flights, smaller rockets. You don't go to space and orbit space. You just hop really high, 100 kilometers, 80 kilometers, and then you land. It's several minutes in space, and that's very nice adventure. And that's Blue Origin, Virgin Galactic. They can do that. And then there are new projects which can lift you really, really high when you touch the edge of space. They're slightly less expensive, but still we're talking 6 digits, 7 digits numbers. And
well,
then
not unless you go vanilla.
yeah, and then you have these vanilla skydives and anything in between.
Okay, and you seem so passionate about it. How close have you gotten to space?
Well, me personally, I was trained as a space engineer.
Oh,
and
cool.
One potential.
Well, that's why you're so passionate about
yes,
it.
I loved it, and one potential job for me after graduation was to become an engineer / cosmonaut, astronaut. Well, that
to
never
become Howard.
I could have been not a Howard, but even a proper astronaut. Yes. Well, Howard did a good thing
Howard
too.
thinks he's a proper astronaut.
No, Howard
Let's
definitely.
not go
Howard,
there.
you were a proper astronaut. But I didn't work in space industry because space industry was kind of at the low point at that time. But I kept that spark burning, and I really loved it. And look, they're so wonderful, all these rockets and things.
They are very cool.
And I always kind of kept close connection to my friends from space industry. I worked in civil aviation since then. But then how close I went personally, I became a professional skydiver. And the closest
That's why you think it's so vanilla.
Yeah, it's vanilla. But the closest I got, we had some high altitude jumps from 18,000 feet, 6 kilometers.
What?
But yeah, you use oxygen. But this is because the atmosphere is already not that dense there. But that's how far I went. So in my project, when I talk about space, commercial space tourism and space travel, I have it in mind that I also want to do that. So once I became immensely rich, or maybe I get a bonus trip, I'll definitely go.
Which one's your top pick? I have to know. If you had, let's say you were sitting on the pile of money, it wasn't an option, or it's a decade beyond, what is Mikhail picking?
Probably a month on a space station.
A month?
Yeah, because
Don't
the first
you
2 weeks,
lose
you're
muscle
adjusting
density
anyway.
All that jazz, like you lose muscle density, don't you?
There are ways to prevent loss in a big scale.
Yeah.
You exercise, basically all cosmonauts, astronauts, they exercise 3 to 4 hours per day to prevent muscle loss and calcium loss in the bones.
Is that within a month? Would they lose that much in a month?
They will start losing muscle and bone kind of density at once.
Oh, really?
But you can adjust that. You can slow it down, and there are ways to do it. Because there are people who spend a year in space, even more, and they came back and they were fine. When people didn't know how to handle that, the first flights, even 2 weeks, when they did nothing and they landed and it was really rough. And after that, people learned what to do to prevent that. But for the first couple of days, almost a week, you're just adjusting to weightlessness. So it's kind of wasted. So that's why a month would be my ideal spot. Yeah, space station, a month. Probably there are 4 or 5 space stations which are currently being designed and built, which will accept space tourists in the future.
Just for commercial use?
Well, there will be multi-purpose space stations,
cool.
science, whatever,
Satellites, all that
plus
jazz.
commercial. And you can go and spend a month.
I'm imagining a space hotel, and it just
and that's
seems
exactly
so
what it will
cool.
be. Some stations call themselves that already, space hotels.
Really?
And they will accept people for a month, for half a year.
Half a year. Okay, I believe you're going to get there. I have my fingers crossed.
Well, I believe you'll get there because we agreed already in 10 years' time you go to space.
You know what? Maybe for my 40th, forget him. I mean, like, if I can't get for both of us, I'm going. Because that sounds really, really cool. For this 30th, though, that I'm thinking about, Is there an option that keeps people's feet kind of more firmly on the ground? Because I'm thinking about inviting his mother up. I'm sure people, if you're listening to us from Ireland, I'm sure people would have noticed that I don't sound Irish. I'm South African and his mother is in South Africa. I thought it would be cool to maybe bring her through. He misses her so much.
Okay. Well,
She's not very daring.
There are several options there too. Okay. One option, it's an item on my personal bucket list.
Oh, okay.
And so I'll give it to you for free, so you can use my dream. So there is a company in France.
Yeah.
It's Normandy. There's a big hangar,
Yeah.
and it's from old times when they had these big
Yeah.
airships. And these guys, they're in business for 10 years. I saw how I missed them. I don't know. I would have done that myself a long time ago. So inside this hangar, they attach you to a small helium balloon in a harness.
Cool.
They give you small kind of flapping wings, and they teach you how to flap them in such a way that you go up or
like a
down and
bird.
forward, and then they release you, and you float there in the air all by yourself.
That is awesome.
And that's cost €60 per person.
Shut up.
Yeah, so for all three of
Here
you,
we go.
180.
Yes, and I can buy for all three of us.
Yeah.
That's that thing. I don't have to pick one of us. I think that would be great.
There is one.
That would
I
be
will give you
great.
three options.
Yeah,
Another
yeah,
option.
yeah.
In UK, I don't know if you've seen those jetpacks that attach to your hands.
Yes.
All right. So
Only in the Iron Man movie where they're like trying to
yes,
replicate it.
you can try that out.
Okay.
You can try that out, and again,
on land or in water?
on land.
Oh, wow.
So there is it's called Gravity, the Gravity company, and they will either let you try it, like you'll be harnessed probably,
Yeah.
but you'll get a feel, or you will learn to fly them. So option one, to try it out, £2,000 per person. Option two, learn to fly 6,000
Oh, wow.
per
So you
person.
can become a pilot of it.
You can
essentially.
learn how to properly fly it and hop and everything. So this is option two. Option number three. Well, simple vanilla skydive.
Yeah.
You jump
How
and you
vanilla,
just
yes.
you just fall through
Indeed,
the air.
fall through the sky.
Just
It's,
something. Look at this clouds.
boring.
But then there are wind tunnels where you can experience the free fall on the ground.
Oh, good. So you don't have to.
you don't have to
Because that's
jump.
what was holding me back from the skydive initially.
That's it,
Someone's
yeah,
going to have to
it's-
push me out the plane.
No one is pushing anywhere, and you're just floating there in the air. There are instructors with you in the tunnel that teach you about what to do, and that costs between 10 and €20 per minute. And
that's
for the
not
first
bad.
timer, I would say 5 minutes. So you can have a day trip and try them
Yes.
out. They have tunnels in France, they have tunnel in Europe, in UK, and there is one tunnel near Belfast.
Oh, awesome. That's
It's
right
kind
around
of
the
a small
corner.
one, but it's still you get experience. And that's a kind of space-like experience too, because
Yeah.
free fall, skydive, even
That
astronauts and
weightlessness
cosmonauts,
thing.
they learn to skydive because they want to adjust to the stressful environment.
Yeah.
Even in one country's space program, there is a training program when an astronaut, future cosmonaut, jumps with the outside of an airplane with a parachute, skydives, and then opens a pad, and there is a mathematical equation there, problem, and they have to solve this problem in free fall, so that they learn how to concentrate in stressful environment like in space.
Jeez, I can't do it on the ground.
So you can try that in the wind tunnel. Just solve some problem.
Man, I couldn't do that in a comfy chair with a cup of coffee. But now tell me, so do you offer this whole range of things people can come to you and ask like this?
Yeah, I'm a travel agent, right?
Yeah.
I'm a travel agent, similar to the good old day travel agents, where
Yeah.
there's office
I'm
in the
trying
street.
to remember the name of one
Oh
of them.
yeah,
I
but
can't
there are
off the
still
top of
some
my
there.
head.
When you see, look, you can go to Turkey, Mallorca, Israel,
Yes.
whatever. Same for me. I inform people, advise people about different projects available in space tourism and high altitude adventures, and you can go to my website and see all these projects. They're grouped in categories, and you can learn about them and book directly. Or you can talk to me and I'll help you to pick and book,
Yeah.
similar to your idea, like what can we do if my budget is €5 per person?
Oh,
Okay,
man,
we
thank
can,
you
we
for
can do
talking
that.
to me, because that's incredible. I mean, if I could just come, if I had no idea where to start, you know what I mean? But being able to just come and talk to you about it and understand what's available. I didn't realize so much was available. That balloon thing in particular.
Yeah,
just
well, the
blows
balloon
my
is
mind right
my
now.
personal. But many things are available now, and many more things are available soon.
Yes.
And the projects which are coming soon, which are very interesting for me personally, and I think they will hit Irish markets because people have no idea. Everyone I talk to, they say, "Whoa, high altitude balloon flights." There are 6 companies out there. 2 of them are planning to start operating next year, and the others maybe later. Big capsule, 8 people. Space-rated capsule, big helium hydrogen balloon, no training required. You go in, you get a basic safety brief. That's the door, that's the window.
Yeah.
Okay, get in.
That's like those weather balloons, right?
Yes, remember those Chinese spy balloons?
Yes.
It's kind of similar,
Well.
but much more fun. So it's a big cabin, and you go up gently and slowly to about 30 kilometers altitude.
Okay.
So all 99% of Earth atmosphere is below you. Space is above you, dark sky, stars, curvature of the Earth. You can take flat earthers and they will see for themselves that it's not flat. And you spend 2 hours, full bar, restroom, Wi-Fi, most importantly,
Wow.
huge window. You can do the selfies. You see the Earth from above.
That's
And then you gently go down. And the cost is $50,000 per seat, $120,000 per seat. People pre-booked hundreds of seats. People
Yes,
booked
it's
whole capsules
incredible.
for weddings, events. So
you
they
could
can
get
do.
married in space.
Yes. And there are several projects, and they are starting next year. And another one, the one which I will advertise to you in your 40 for your next anniversary. So Elon Musk, this big mega rocket Starship, which
Yes.
launched last month, first time, it will be successful. I have no doubts about it. And one of the projects he has in mind for this big rocket to go point to point, Earth to Earth, New York to Tokyo,
Okay.
London to Johannesburg, anywhere. Let's say New York to Tokyo, 45 minutes. You take off,
that's
and then you
incredible.
land, and along the way, you go through space.
That's
Because you go
incredible.
150 miles high, 200
And then come
kilometers,
back in.
and then come back in, and several dozen minutes, weightlessness,
And
space,
the fastest trip around the
fastest
world.
trip. And now, ticket price, it's still confusing. Elon Musk says a lot of things. And he mentioned a couple of times that, for me, the launch cost of this thing is about 1 to 10 million. He was all over the place. But let's say 10 million, you can put 500 people into this rocket. So we are talking between thousands and $10,000,
That project's
$20
gonna pay for
per
itself.
person. You can go to
Okay.
space in 10 years' time.
That's incredible. But I mean, do you vet these things? You're a space agent. How safe are they? Do you check that the providers aren't scamming people? You know?
Yeah, because, first of all, I'm also a skydiving instructor.
Yeah.
And when I teach students to skydive, when I teach them on the ground, when I go with them up in the air, we jump and we do exercise with them, safety of
we
my
get
student
nervous.
is my ultimate first priority. Same way, safety of my potential passenger, my client who will book with me, through me, is my ultimate first priority. I will definitely check. I will definitely try to understand myself, all the projects, and I will never advise anything unsafe.
Yes.
But space travel is not a
Space
walk in the
travel.
park. It's I don't want to use the word dangerous, but there is no other word I can use. But it's abnormal. It's difficult. Space is hard. And yes, things can go wrong, but all these projects, they have designed features which will allow the capsule to save the passengers if something goes wrong. And they already demonstrated that. And to become a space, man-rated project, all manufacturers have to show redundancy and safety features.
Okay.
So that's why, yes, I will not recommend anything unsafe. And yes, some projects will succeed. Some projects will probably be never man-rated. And then all they can do
They can't
Chinese
hit the ground,
spying instead of taking people to space.
But you've also shown me that there's a sliding scale of, daringness to the project. You can go super vanilla, I'm not going to say skydiving because for me that's no longer vanilla. But for you that's become
The
very
balloon-
vanilla.
the balloon in the
Again,
hangar.
the sliding scale. But like the virtual reality, you could maybe do something like that. Or the balloon, like you said, that sounded amazing. So you don't have to, depending on how bold you are. I mean, you're done with skydiving already. It's boring. It's vanilla.
Well,
But so for you, so you're ready to like almost upscale that adventure.
well, but in essence, the whole range of projects I'm
Yeah.
talking about, they are adventurous / abnormal / again, the word dangerous is not correct. They are all
Daring.
they will be daring, and they will be all safe
Yeah.
in general. And on the sliding scale, yes, you can go to the moon. You can do a moon flyby, 300 million, and Elon Musk will sign you up. Or you can be a super nice photographer, or maybe a podcast creator, and maybe one of those billionaires who paid for the flight will pick you as a crew member. And there is one team already picked. 8 people will go for free with Isako Miyazawa around the moon within
Guys,
the next 3 years.
I will make a podcast in space.
Yeah.
Put me
So
in a
try
space
harder,
shuttle.
and maybe you'll be picked next. But this is like the most daring, the most challenging moon flight. And yes, vanilla. Okay, skydive is slightly abnormal, but wind tunnel,
Yeah.
helium balloon in the hangar, and then anything in between. And there are different degrees. Like
Yeah.
there are high altitude glider flights. You can go and in a
that
glider
sounds
go
nice.
above Alps. So this is really high. You can try to fly a jet trainer or jet fighter. Okay,
Yeah.
there will be a pilot there, but you'll have a chance to go really high and really
Ooh,
fast.
That's really cool
Again,
too.
it's a 5-digit ticket cost.
I just thought about my father for that one. I think he would really adore that.
You know, once you become extremely successful and wealthy
Hey, it's his
enough,
money.
maybe for your 50, then there is a company which is designing airship,
Okay.
new generation of airship. And then there are several companies like that. And there is another company which is already selling tours to North Pole on an airship. It's a cabin for 2. It's a Michelin star dining
How
experience.
romantic.
This thing goes relatively low. It can go low, like 100 meters above Earth, because it's an airship. It doesn't matter. It can go 10,000 feet. And it will go from Norway to North Pole, above all these ice and icebergs, and you land on the North Pole.
Amazing.
You have your dinner there, and you travel back. Again, they're selling tickets. They will start flying in 2025. Now, ticket price, cabin for 2, 200,000 euro.
Very nice. But I mean, listen, if I'm going to do a space adventure for my boyfriend, I expect him to do that and propose in the North Pole.
Not in
That's what I'm
the
at.
space balloon, because we thought that space balloon
You
proposal.
know, right at the very on top of the world. How are you feeling? I'm actually on top of the world, physically on top of the world right now. Could not get higher. But on another element of safety, and this is something that worries me because, you know, it's 2023 and scams are all over the place. Do you vet the providers a little bit to make sure that these offers are legitimate?
Yeah, and I have to set up, KYC, know your customer, AML, anti-money laundering,
Yeah.
cybersecurity projects to make sure that all my offers are robust and cannot be hacked, and all my customers and operators are vetted,
Yeah.
because it works both ways. We don't want to send dodgy money to a good company.
Exactly.
And even more than that, you know, these things sometimes produce a lot of CO2.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Some of them less.
Okay.
Like Blue Origin, not much, because it's hydrogen and oxygen fuel, which means no CO2. Falcon burns kerosene, so CO2 emission is
wow,
there.
okay.
But the new rocket will have less emission. But this emission happens, and we all talk about sustainability and CO2 and hurting the nature.
Yeah.
The plan of my company is to always offset all CO2 emission, but at the first instance, for customers, to make them aware the different emission of each project, because some of them zero emission.
Yeah.
Helium balloons, zero emission. Hydrogen balloons,
Sounding
zero
better and
emission.
better.
Some of them are emitting, and actually I'm partnering with a company so we can offer customers options to offset. Plant trees, I will actually push the company themselves to offset, or even my company, iDare Space Travel, may offset the costs of the emission on behalf of the customer.
Oh, wow. So you're doing this very carefully and you're vetting it quite nicely, because I'm just nervous about what I don't know to ask. So it's really nice to have someone in between to help with this kind of adventure, because it is one of those businesses where you don't know what you don't know, you know. I want to get into it. I want to try it. I want it to be incredible, but I don't know what to ask yet.
But you're correct. It's you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And that's why I thought that my experience, my training, and my current experience with those vanilla skydives will allow me to be open and upcoming and clear with my customers, so that I explain to them, first of all, answer all the questions and explain to them exactly what will be happening in these flights and which risks may be involved and how they are countered, what companies do to prevent or fight those risks. Like, for example, Blue Origin, they have a system when, if anything happens with the rocket, then the passenger capsule will separate, fly away, and land safely. And these features are compulsory for all space tourism projects, because they're not fighter pilots, they're not military astronauts, they're not there to fight or win, they're there to enjoy it. And the biggest joy of spaceflight is to see Earth from above, which is beautiful, and try to be in a good mood to enjoy that view. And that's why all the companies, all space tourism companies, all high-altitude adventures company, they want you to enjoy it as much as you can. And that's why they want to do it safe and clear.
Okay, I think my last question for me is, can we all do this? What kind of training goes into them? I mean, I've done some scuba diving. And I needed to get licensed to become a scuba diver. And that took... it took me about a year to get a license and do a certain amount of dives, to be able to just go into a scuba diving place and get a license and say, I want to go and dive this reef. What kind of training do these typically need? Does it vary? And is it one of those things where, you know, even if I've put on a little bit of weight, they'll let me onto the ship?
Especially in weightlessness, weight doesn't count. But
oh, thank God.
Skydive, you can go tomorrow. Actually, I will go tomorrow. You can go with me and we can skydive. So no training, just the basic wind tunnel, no training. This flapping the balloon wings, no training. The high altitude balloon flights, basic safety instructions, slightly more than a normal aircraft, but no particular training required. Suborbital flights, some training. So one day they give you different instructions, how to open the doors, how things work, how to strap yourself quickly, because the flight is really short. It's several minutes in weightlessness. And the trick is for you to know when it's going to end, so that you can go back to your seat and buckle up fast. A couple of days. Real space flight, we're talking about months. You don't have to be trained as a super space ace, but you have to be aware of how things work. Safety, you need to be aware how certain systems work, because you may need to help proper astronauts to work things. You're trained to know what you're going to experience in space. So you're trained for weightlessness, so you actually will do all those parabolic flights. So you know how it feels.
As well.
G-forces, you will go to the centrifuge. You'll probably do some flights so that you're comfortable. Because if it's all new for you, you'll spend most of your flight being all freaked out, panicking. So it depends upon how far you go. And again, moon flyby similar, several months of training. So between nothing and months, but different companies, different projects have different requirements.
It's incredible how so much of this is on a sliding scale that you can almost determine for yourself. I personally think I'm going to do the balloon one. I think
the small balloon in the hangar?
I think I'm going to do the balloon in the hangar at Normandy.
Well, let's all do that, because I think they're currently, they suspended operations for a while now because they're out of helium. Helium is relatively, but they will renew soon. So let's all go there and do the floating.
I'm gonna stay in contact with you, and you can help me sort this out. But that's where I'm leaning. Gonna just maybe chat to you a little bit more about it. But I think you got the majority of my questions. Thank you so much for the guidance here today. I really appreciate your help just understanding what the options are.
You're welcome, and that's the plan. And people are not aware. People usually know about a couple of these projects, but they're not aware about the magnitude available now and available in the future. And that's my plan, to tell people they're here, available for all of you. And some of them are here now, some of them next year, some of them 5-10 years, so that people are not shocked in 5 years, like, whoa, we had no idea this is coming. No, it is coming. It is coming. And it's coming soon. And the space economy and space industry will be big. It will touch all of our lives, not just as space tourism, but at so many other levels.
I'm so excited. I'm really so excited. Thank you so much, Mikhail.
You're welcome. Thank you for listening. It was me and Paige talking about space tourism and all kind of adventures in the air. And you can find this episode and all future episodes at different platforms, YouTube, iTunes, and many, many more. Just look for High Altitude Adventures.